14, Bruno Sokolov carried himself like a nearly grown man. He was known for intimidating, harassing, or beating up his classmates. Bruno Sokolov never spoke my name. I didn't know him. I didn't belong to his world.
June 1944. The Allied invasion was preparing to begin. British, after years of planning, preparation, finally the amphibious assault across the English Channel began. Our plans this time was to liberate Paris, move on into Germany. Are you done? Can I continue?
I observed Bruno Sokolov in class, in the hall, making his way down the stairs, pushing ahead in the cafeteria line.
Yeah, could I get a principal in room 326, please?
Actions he seemed to perform without thinking, as if his impulses immediately discharged.
Yeah, I'm trying to teach this class. I'm just tired of this kid. I look over and all of a sudden...
He was smart, he was tough, the natural leader of a gang.
Bruno!
What?
Come on, man, grab your stuff. Sorry.
He carried a knife, or was believed to do so. My infatuation was not love, but common to love, a quickening of my pulse, but that was all. Halfway through freshman year, Bruno's father died a strange and much discussed death. After a disagreement with the gang, Mr. Sokolov was shot at his door. A blood trail was found, leaving the store, ending in a nearby alley. A few days later, pieces of Mr. Sokolov began to appear around town. The murderers were never found.
Hey. Did you get anything?
What? Oh.
Those are all right.
Oh, wait. Did you check anything out?
Oh, yeah, I got this.
Wow, that is old.
I like the old ones. The ones that make you think. Scare you into thinking.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Alright, well, I'll see you later.
See ya. I'm sorry about your dad.
What?
Sorry about your dad.
Me too.
No, I think he's already covered the ball.
Hey,
Hi.
Look.
Oh, cool. I hope you like it.
I didn't realize it then, but this was the final time we spoke. I often wonder how different Bruno's life would have been had he never spoken to me, had he never taken notice of me. Had he never seen me?
Sorry I scared you. You're beautiful. You know that. Well, excuse me. Would you get that? Please? So beautiful.
Did you hear someone scream?
What is he doing?
I think he's got a knife.
Get back! I'll kill her! Stop! Stop it! Stop! Stop! Just stop! Stop! Just stop! Please stop!
Bruno was never the same after that. He was never formally charged with a crime, even though he nearly killed my attacker. Many witnesses spoke on his behalf, saying he was acting in my defense. I said the same thing, even though I knew it wasn't true. Following the incident, Bruno stopped coming to school and eventually dropped out. On his 18th birthday, he joined the army. Just before his 19th birthday, he was deployed overseas. I heard of his death 3 months later. I often remember how people would speak to him, call him by name, but I never did. If I could, I would go back now and thank him. Thank him for what he gave me. As if that might make a difference.
So, we can open it up to questions. So if anybody has any questions about the production of the project. Is that D Windy up there?
It is D Windy,
okay.
Yeah.
What do you got?
First of all, guys, that was a fantastic film. Probably the best, if not very close to the best film that this program has ever produced, just from what I've seen. So like absolutely huge congratulations. This was an amazing film, and I really hope that it sees a lot of success in festivals. And more importantly, I hope that the district lets you guys experience the film at film festivals, because that is amazing. I'm just kind of curious, just because I was part of, oh my god, how am I forgetting the name of this film?
The one before it?
Yeah, the musical one.
Oh My Mind.
Oh My Mind, right. There was always like so many like pop-up challenges and just random things that we didn't expect, so kind of elaborate a little bit on some of the challenges that you guys faced and how you kind of dealt with that.
Yeah, so we had some pretty major scheduling issues that happened like pretty much throughout the whole process, where we would think we had areas that, permission to shoot in areas, and we actually didn't, and we lost a whole day of shooting, or we'd have to sub it out for a different area, or, most of it was scheduling.
Or a lead actress quit.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. We had a lead actress from MSU, right? And we've been in contact with her for a good amount of time, kind of back and forth, making sure she's still on board with the project. And I think about like a week before we were going to shoot, before we initially planned to shoot, she just stopped contacting us. We had no idea of who was going to be our lead actress. So, but we found Abby, and I think that worked out better.
There you go.
So, Abby mentioned this, but Abby and a very small team of people, Tyler would sit on it, I would sit on it, took the short story page by page and adapted it. And then tediously kept breaking it down and refining it. And so, amongst the human beings that knew her character, I don't know that anybody would have known it better than Abby to begin with. And so for Abby to sub in on this character that she'd kind of been living with for a month or two was already like just a natural choice there. So like I said at the beginning, I can't imagine another way that we could have done it, because it worked out so well. Any other questions? Yeah.
As you're making this film, what do you all think your proudest moment was? Or was there an instant where you were like, wow, like this is great? Like, was it now when you were seeing it, or the first time seeing it?
A moment where I feel like the film crew like all really connected, like, yeah, we can do this, was the day we shot the classroom scene.
That sounds good.
And Cantrell was not present, he was out, so we
flew.
Yes. So we were all like, basically, some of us were doing our jobs for basically the first time. And we had about an hour and a half to shoot the scene because it was in a classroom, and then at the end of the hour and a half was break ended, so students would come in. So we were already on a limited time crunch, but we all just joined forces and like put our heads together and worked together in a way that we didn't really need to discuss. It just kind of happened, and we were like, okay, if it doesn't work out, we can just refilm it another day, but that did not happen, and we got everything we needed in that limited amount of time. And then after that day, I think the entire team was like, okay, we can do this, we are capable.
The fight scene day was pretty electric too, because we didn't tell anybody how to act at a fight. And like all the extras were just there, and like we're explaining things to them, and Tyler's going around like person to person, they're like, yeah, it's fine. And like nobody's saying a word, like it's very quiet in that hallway. And then the sound that you hear in the dark at the beginning of the film is the sound that they instantly started making when we said action. It was horrifying.
I think that was the first take.
I think it was the first take. And like, I remember just standing there behind the camera and just my heart was just racing, because that's a very big warning sound for a teacher. That's a terrifying sound to go from silence to that sound, and it was wild. So yeah, that was a very, very authentic moment on set.
I will say the face you made in that moment is
yeah.
I've not seen it before, so.
Anybody else on the proudest moment?
I was just really proud of everything that I saw. I think everybody did a really good job. My personal proudest moment is probably the end scene. I feel like I had connected with Bruno a little bit, and like felt out the character and knew who he was, but at the end scene I realized why he was doing it, and I kind of just got lost in the emotion. And that played really well.
I definitely agree. I think at that point it was like the last scene that we had to shoot, and we were all so comfortable with like who we were playing, and I felt very connected to him, so it was just very comfortable to do that. So
I would say something that I didn't initially think of, because I was going to say what you said, but the editing process I thought was really rewarding to be in that. That was mainly thanks to Carter, but just getting to see, you know, you get raw footage and that's exciting, but there comes to a point where you see the holes in it that need to be filled later, and so seeing all that stuff come together, you know, finding sound effects, making sure they're all right in the right place, and getting everybody's opinion on it, I think was a super cool process. Like way more interesting than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and we did 2 new things on this one we've never done before. We shot it in black and white. We've never done a complete black and white piece, and we shot it in large format 6K. We've never shot in 6K before. And that file size is enormous, and so it actually makes it fairly difficult to edit. So that, I think, worked out. All right. Yeah.
As you were prepping and writing and getting ready to start filming, did you have conversations and like develop like touchstones, other films that were inspirational and helped you have a vocabulary as you talked about setting a tone and what you wanted to do?
So there weren't, I don't think, a whole lot of like specific films that I could be wrong about this, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there were a whole lot of specific film influences. I know we wrote into the script during Carter's scene, we're gonna kind of do like a Watchmen opening, like the opening of Watchmen. We're gonna try to do that kind of slow-mo thing. I don't think we ended up really using that a whole lot, but we did. That was something we were thinking about. And then we took kind of elements from other, maybe not necessarily films, but like the blood being chocolate sauce. That's a pretty that's an Alfred Hitchcock thing. So stuff like that.
What was that closing thing that you like the flashes of the image?
Oh yeah, that was Menace to Society.
Oh, there you go. Well done. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that final gasp that gets cut off before it's complete was the perfect punctuation mark to end that with. Was that, I doubt that could have come from the source material. It doesn't feel like something that would be put into a short story because it's not, temporal. Was that a directorial call, or is that something that the actors decided to do? I mean, like, where did that come from?
That was written in the script.
Was the source material a script or a story?
It's a short story. The original short story ends with her last line where it says, "If it would have made a difference." And then when they were writing the screenplay, they chose to cut back to the stabbing scene because that's the moment that changed both of their lives forever. Like, that's their turning point, and they can never go back from it. And imagining, because like this whole story is just like that character in kind of a college age, like imagining back to like these things that have affected her, and she's like finally like processing these trauma and like these kind of like mental vignettes is almost like what the whole thing is. But we kind of imagine like if you're going back to that very moment that of like, I wish I could do this but I never can, of like you could almost like in a dream state imagine it being changeable, but the reality of it is it can never change. Like taking in the breath to say thank you, but you can never let it out. And they wrote that into the screenplay, and it's, if you read the screenplay, it says she takes in a deep breath, begins as if she's going to say something, and then cut to black at the end. So yeah, they wrote that.
So any big project like this is a great learning opportunity. I wanted to ask, like, what is your biggest takeaway from this? Like something that you maybe want to apply in your projects going forward, or something that you really don't want to?
as an actor, I felt like the best acting was done when I fully immersed myself into the idea of the character. So definitely, like, even on stage acting, or if I ever do film acting, just starting out with getting familiar with the character and then going into it with those emotions.
I think for me, it was just kind of learning that not everything you have to do, or not everything you do has to be meticulously thought out beforehand. A lot of the ideas and stuff come right in the moment. I know there's a lot of stuff that we had to change from the screenplay that ended up, I think, working better. I think, and a lot of stuff from the original story, and a lot of acting choices and everything like that. I think just all those little things you don't necessarily think about when you're kind of putting the whole idea of the project together really add a lot of depth and complexity that you just can't think about beforehand.
We touched a little bit on this earlier, but more on like the production side, just scheduling. We lost quite a few days of filming because things were just like thought out properly, and you don't think that's going to be the thing to like make or break your film, but we were coming up towards the end of the school year, and like once the school year's over, we're done. There's nothing else you can do about it. But then there's just things like we didn't have enough charged batteries, or somebody didn't have enough microphones, or stuff like that. Stuff that you like really think about, like, oh, somebody will get that. Oh, we've got that covered. That's not going to be a big issue. Turned out to be a bit of an issue. So probably just thinking of stuff like that.
That's your teacher, though. He should have had all the.
Thanks, man.
Still has another year. It'd be nice.
Any other questions? Not from front. Okay. Yeah.
Has Joyce Carol Oates seen it yet? And if so, what was her feedback? If not, will she have an opportunity? Will you get an opportunity to hear it?
No, she hasn't. And the reason being, in her contract, she did not stipulate that she needed to see it before it was distributed. She did stipulate that she at any time can revoke it. So we think she's going to be happy with it, but we want to make sure that we reward the efforts of the students. So we're going to let it have a festival run, and then we'll share it with her. But we will send it over to her.
Thanks for telling us now.
I mean, she'll be fine. She will.
So we shouldn't have live streamed it.
Shouldn't have live streamed it. Directly to her house. Yeah,
Can I make more of like a statement of the project than asking a question?
Sure.
So, I want to go back to that, Jaxson, you said getting like at the end of the stabbing scene, getting more into character. I remember, because I was just waiting in the break room as you guys were filming it. I think there was a moment in time where you had to take a break and you almost had like a panic attack because you got so into character and you're one of the greatest actors I know.
I don't know if it was like a break, but I definitely had to sit with myself in the room for a bit. I remember, this is kind of taking away some of the seriousness. I really wanted a Sonic slushie. They were waiting to film it as I was ordering a Sonic slushie on my phone, and it finally got there right before the stabbing sequence. So in the bathroom while I was stabbing him, there was like the Sonic slushie. So after I was done with the scene, I definitely had to like sit down for a second, but I grabbed my slushie and but it did take over for a bit. I think a lot of that was because you finally realize the severity of what happened, especially in the moment where you're coming to a defense for someone in that situation. I just really I don't know, it was hard to break away from.
I have my slushies. So
Especially when you're stabbing my dad.
I can still smell the cleaning stuff.
I did clean the bathroom floor before we shot it because it was gross.
I mean, filmmaking in general is so strange. Like, it's always kind of interesting to watch, especially new filmmakers, the first time you've got everything in front of a camera and you start hit recording on it, because it's so different than reality. It's this very strange experience of being in front of the camera and selling these moments, but also still holding on to yourself and being able to break between the shots. And during those scenes specifically, though, they're hard. Like the stabbing scene and that whole day was a very, very difficult day. And then when you have the actors deliver on these moments, you start to get moved by it on set even. You just start to, your heart will be racing while it's happening. And it's a really special experience, but it is a strange experience of doing that at the same time.
I actually, I thought that one of the smartest things that we did was actually save that shoot for last, because a big part early on was, I know at least for me, was a lot of it was really awkward, having not done a lot of this stuff before, especially with as many people as we had. Getting over that kind of awkward, I don't really know how I'm supposed to do this, I'm not super confident in what I'm doing yet. That was kind of all gone by the point we got to there, and I think if we had done that early on, it wouldn't have had the same impact. It wouldn't have.
Yeah, we had developed trust as a crew, but
I have another question, which is, were there any particular themes or messages that you guys wanted to bring out? And if so, what kind of filmmaking tools did you guys use to bring said themes or messages out?
I think that kind of connects to an earlier question. I think my main thing, once I got into the film and I kind of realized the heaviness of it, it was just to spread awareness on it, because you don't really think about that every day, or at least I don't, because I'm a man. But that happens, and it's important for everyone to be aware of that and just kind of understand that is something that
I think a lot of the stuff that we employed later on in the process too, in editing and the amazing music, thanks to Gabe Barnard over here.
Composed in-house?
Sorry?
Was that music composed in-house?
Yes. It was.
That's
It was
fantastic.
composed.
Good job.
But yeah, I think the whole spreading awareness thing was really helped by a lot of the stuff that gets your heart pounding, really makes you feel the emotions, makes you connect with the characters that you wouldn't otherwise get without them. I think lighting, sound effects, music, everything like that.
I think all people at some time in your life have observed somebody else with curiosity and kind of wondered, what is their story? And why are they the way that they are? And the whole structure of the short story even, is where you're able to watch this other person and you can make a snap judgment of they're just kind of a rough kid, they're a bully. You just kind of make these conclusions, and then you get to see kind of the way that their life really is, and you get to find out more things about them. And the whole idea of the film being able to watch somebody else and understand them at a deeper level, and then even after the fact, come back over it again and again, and you understand them more and more. I timed this, by the way, so I'm older when I start getting serious, to do this. But I think that theme is fairly universal, and it kind of just encourages us as we leave to walk out and look at the people that are around us, and those silent people that we never call by name or shout out to in the hallway, but these people in different circumstances would step in to save your life or change your life in some way or another, but how many of those opportunities do you walk past and never engage with? And this whole story is about that one moment where these two people do find this engagement, they find a connection, and both of their lives are changed by it. But that whole idea of just trying to see deeper into people and see more people, I think is a very big lesson to kind of take away from the film. Anybody else want to risk the flashing lights or Sham Rama?
What was the approval process on getting a high schooler to smoke a cigarette on camera?
It was herbal.
It was herbal. I
actually bought some really, really terrible, just terrible, awful cigarettes, fake cigarettes, filled with tea and mint from Amazon, and they smelled worse than real cigarettes. They would burn your lungs in a very immediate way when you're around them.
But it's like the same thing you would have like a stage production, and it was also not on school grounds.
It was during school time though.
It was during school time.
We
just walked outside.
There's also about 20 cop cars on the other side of the camera there, the entire time.
So it's cool.
Yeah.
And the guy on the motorcycle or the bike was
stereo
blasting.
Yeah, that was really great for audio.
Alright. Anybody else? Well, we cannot thank you enough for coming and sharing this with us, because I mean it's wonderful to make films, but it's not anything unless you can share them with other people and have conversations and have these moments in theaters where you can watch them and experience them together. So thank you all so much for coming and being a part of this and supporting the students for this. So thank you again.
Good job, Central.